Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the live show, the live call-in show, Energy Reading with Lori Grant. You have to feel to heal. Lori Grant is so much more than a wife, daughter, sister, and friend. She knows that her journey has a reason and she embraces it all. Lori is a professionally trained life, energy coach, energy medicine practitioner, children's book author, and lover of life. If you have trouble saying no, feel guilty when you do, or think it's your job or responsibility to fix everything or everyone, you want to work with Lori. She lives in Littleton, Massachusetts with her husband Andy and their dogs Sadie and cat Marge. Lori loves to cook, travel, and be with friends and family. Her biggest passion is next to living happily with Andy. You can find out more about information about Lori at www.lori, that's Lorigrant, LoriGrant.com, Lorigrant.com, and follow her on Twitter at Energy Coach Lori or on Facebook at www.facebook.com/pages leg-up-healing. So any of those ways. Now you can call in. This is a live call-in show. You can join us if you want to by phone at 408-638-0968 with the meeting ID 159280393. Or you can also find out this information at zcatsystems.com. Lori, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Pete. Thanks. How about you?
I'm doing really well. I told you about some excellent news I've had today.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know that as a mindful individual, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, okay, what did I do differently? That's really started to bring these new things in, because this is kind of a big thing for me, Lori, in this time. It was something I didn't know if I could manifest it. And so when, because we're always in this stage of really focusing on when things don't come. So I'm trying to be very mindful and focus on things when things do come now. You know what I mean?
Yes. And it's perfect for what I want to talk about tonight, because a lot of something that was said this morning, a former client wrote and said she wanted a friend to come on tonight because she can't get out of her effing head. And that's like a line I always use with her, was get the F out of your head.
Mm.
And so it's about the spin, how to stop the spin. So like that, oh, can I manifest it? What am I doing wrong that it's not coming, right? We tend to focus on those things when it's not working. And just like what we were talking about earlier, we put so much pressure on ourselves for when things aren't working that we literally create like more of a spin. Hold on one second. Marge, I baked brownies and they're on the counter, and my cat just leapt onto the counter to try and get the brownies. Nice, huh?
That's part of live shows, folks.
Yeah.
Live action shows.
Sorry about that. Get down. What a little vixen. All right, now I covered it.
Yeah, and I think for me, Laura, I think part of what it was like I kept finding myself, or I kept asking myself, what was I recreating in this? Because I think when things don't come forward, it's about, I'm going to say, I can speak for me personally. It was about me putting myself back into that victim mode of me being able to see, I told you I am a victim. You know what I mean?
And the spin that comes from that, right? So our spin always comes from an old limiting belief, right? So you, right? Like nothing ever works. I can't have what I want, right? Which is totally the victim, right? Or, also I love to call it the poor me.
Right.
Right? Like, I'm doing everything right. I don't know why it's not happening. Right? So I call it the spin, because what happens is it starts out like that, right? Like a generic little statement. Gosh, I can't seem to get this to go right for me, right? And it's like a little bit of a frustration, like I'm doing everything that I think I'm supposed to be doing and it's not working. So we feel frustrated, and then it slowly turns. It's like a record player so I'm aging myself, but it's like a record player on like 33. It's going really slow, and it's like nothing ever works for me. Oh, and it skips. Nothing ever works for me, and it skips. Nothing ever works for me. And then it slowly picks up speed. And the nothing ever works for me becomes No matter what I do, it doesn't matter. Nobody's there to help me. Blah, 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 right? And it spins. And all of a sudden, instead of it going at 33, now it's going at 78. And then it's going at 8. Now it's beyond what a record player goes. And it's just spinning. And this is what you do in your head. And all of a sudden, it's 47,000 different unhealthy, not so good for you thoughts spinning and spinning and spinning in your head. And it all started from this little frustration that, oh, damn it, it's just not working the way I thought it would.
Mm-hmm.
And, 12 hours later, you're laying awake in bed at 4 o'clock in the morning going, what's wrong? What's wrong with my life that it's not going right?
Right.
Right? And it's that, and that's what happens. That spin becomes insidious in us, and it comes from limiting beliefs that we have, that we're not good enough, that we are the victim, whatever the story is that we've told ourselves. And sometimes I want to make sure we get that the story was real at some point.
Mm.
It happened. And you were the victim. Somebody screwed you. Something happened. You got shafted. Whatever it is, right? Whatever story it is. But now you've made it your whole life. Instead of, oh, I've had 900,000 really good things happen, but I'm only going to focus on the really crappy ones because that's the place I'm in right now.
Right.
Right? So you forget, like, oh, I've had really great jobs that were really awesome, that I really loved, and I did really good things, and I had really awesome things, and oh, I've had great relationship, whatever it is that you're spinning about. And so for you, right, like the job, like, oh, now I have this great job. Woo, yay, right? Well, you've been there before. You've had great jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And they're great until they're not. And that doesn't mean they weren't great all the time that you had it. Like, I left a job in May. I say that nicely. I left a job. The job left me in May. So I'm coming on a year right now of that almost. So I love that job. I thought that was the job for me. Like, I wanted to expand it. This was it. This is what I wanted to do forever and ever and ever. Until it wasn't.
Mm.
So it doesn't mean that for the months and well over a year that it is exactly what I wanted. It was until it wasn't.
Mm.
So instead of, and I went through the big spin. It's not fair what they did to me. I can't believe they got rid of me, right? Like, I was the queen of the spin on that one. And I had to constantly stop myself. Right? And that's what we want to talk about tonight. How do you stop the spin? Because once it starts, it's damn difficult to put an end to it.
Mm-hmm.
Not just right? Because, I mean, we buy into that story in a big way, right? It's how we get through it, how we get through the difficult times with it. So, like, I was definitely buying into the victim, right? Like, they treated me unfairly. And listen, legally, what they did was not okay, but it is what happened. So I had to really come to terms with, do I want to get out of the spin, or do I want to stay in the spin and stay the victim?
Right.
Well, right? So I had to really be, like, I had to feel into it, right? Because there were some times that I really wanted to be the victim, and I needed to let it go. I needed to feel all that emotion and pain of being the victim so that I could overcome it. So sometimes a little bit of spin to feel into it is okay. It's when, months go by and you're doing nothing but in the spin. Like, I could bounce in and out of it, sort of like a roller coaster, right? Like, I was like up and down with it.
Mm-hmm.
I could really be in the spin of it and just like sobbing on the couch, and it's not fair, and my life is ruined, and why did they do this? And then talk to somebody about it, and they would remind me that I wasn't in alignment at that job anymore, that it was, they wanted me to do things that weren't okay. And so then I would come up out of it like a roller coaster. Like, I would drop down into the depths of, crashing into the big, the deep crevice of it, and then climbing back up out, and then dropping back in. And that's that is healthy. So I want to make sure that when we talk about the spin, sometimes the spin is necessary for us to feel our full range of emotions. We don't want to ignore them, but we don't want to unpack and live in that spin either. So we want to be able to pivot out of it.
Did you find as you became mindful of it that it become like the depths became less and the heights, did it kind of even out a little bit?
Yeah, it took a while, right? And as it should. Like any time that we have I wouldn't call it a full-on crisis, but you know, I lost my job, so to me it was a crisis, right? So, but anytime we have a major upheaval that we weren't necessarily planning for, right? That we didn't realize was coming our way, either through, most of the time when something like this happens, we kind of knew it was coming. We just sort of put ourselves in denial, right? Like I don't know if everyone's like that, but I'm kind of the queen of denial. So I knew things weren't right. I just didn't know they were that bad. Looking back and knowing what I know about personality profiles and charismatic leaders, and I know we've talked about this and we can talk about this in a different call, but knowing what I know, I should have realized, and I try not to beat myself up, that there was no way the person I worked with was going to let me stay there. Her enforcer was never going to let me stay. And she was going to make my life a living hell if I tried to.
Wow.
So it was a benefit for me to leave. It was for my best good. It just took me a while. Like I knew it, but I didn't feel it yet because I was so upset about leaving. So our spins get like that. So it's okay to have some, but we want to be able to make sure that somebody's in our life or we are more than capable. I needed people to point it out to me and talk me through it, because when we're in it, it's very difficult to get out of all by ourselves. Most of the time, if we can verbalize it to somebody and get it sort of fed back to us, we can see things that we didn't necessarily see. So I was on the phone and with people very constantly for about the first week or so that I could drop in and come out. Otherwise, I would have just dropped in and been a mess. But I needed to like go in, come out, go in, come out, so I could feel the pain and yet see on the other side of it. And it did. So I got let go in May, and it took probably a good 6 weeks for me to really feel pretty good. And then I went away in July and was talking to somebody about it and went back to my room and was sobbing. And I went, oh, I guess it's still there. Yeah. So it's okay. I was sobbing from the emotional pain of it, but I wasn't in the spin anymore. You know, I had left the, I'm not good enough. I'm you know, why did they do this? What was I doing wrong? Right? Trying to blame myself instead, or going into they're all jerks, I hate them all, right? Like it depended on what my mood was, right?
Right.
Like, was I taking on everything that even wasn't mine? Or was I giving everything to them, even what was mine? So we do that, right? It takes a while to be able to sort of come to I co-created that relationship, that working relationship with these people, and now I'm going to own all of me and let them have theirs. Like, I'm not going to take on all the responsibility. I'm going to take on what I did, like my piece in it. And that's it connects with the boundaries, right? But the spin is like just beating the crap out of ourselves for everything. Like stuff that is ours, stuff that isn't ours, or the spin of everybody else is unfair and if I'm the perfect one and they're all jerks and blah, 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 right? So we have both. And the key is, how do you get out of it? So what I said earlier, on the phone, get on the phone with friends or go out with them and talk to them, and don't let them buy into your story. You have to have a friend out there that you can say, tell me like it is. Don't tell me what I want to hear.
Right.
Right? Don't feed me the line of bullshit.
Right.
Be there for me. I want you to love me. I want you to support me and be compassionate with me, but I want you to point out the realities.
Mm.
So like I got on the phone with my coach and she was like, well, honey, she's like, I'm reading your energy. She goes, you weren't in alignment with that job. Why would you even be upset that you're gone? And I was like, what, are you kidding me? So it's being able to, you know, to have somebody push up against you like that and really make you stop the spin. Because that's all it takes is somebody to just go, you're being a little absurd right now.
Right.
Right? That's a big piece. Like, and I love the word absurd, right? I use it all the time with my clients and with people when I'm working with them. I just love it because so often our story is so absurd that when we actually say it, when somebody else says it back to you out loud, you hear the absurdity in it, right?
Right.
You like, oh, you don't think you're good enough? Oh, okay. So we should just ignore the fact that you did this, right? And you'll start listing off all the things that they've done in their life. And I'm like, yeah, you're really awful. And then they go, oh, when you say it like that, it sounds ridiculous. I'm like, yeah, because right? Because that's what happens when we get into the spin is our reality disappears and we just keep believing our story. And we need somebody to remind us of our greatness because we will forget because we go into the spin of how we suck. How we're not good enough, how we're never quite good enough. We didn't do it well enough. If I was better, that wouldn't have happened. If I was this, I would have more money. If I was this, I would be in a better relation. It doesn't matter what it is. The spin is going and going. And just like I said, it starts slow, so you think you can control it. And the next thing you know, you have a freaking tornado going in your head. And every bad thing that you can think is bouncing off the brain. Just, you know, at 100 miles an hour, you've got a class 5 freaking tornado going in your head going, I suck, I suck, I suck, I suck, I suck. And it doesn't matter, right? And you need somebody to step in. So it's so important at that point to have a friend or to be able to stop yourself. I call it pivoting. And it's literally, I always joke, do you know basketball at all, Pete?
Not a huge sports fan, but maybe I know a little bit. Let's see.
So do you know the term about traveling when you play basketball? You can't, once you stop dribbling, right, you can't move your feet. You have to keep one foot solid. And you pivot from one side to the other to see who you should pass to. Right? So this is what pivoting is. It's literally, how do I pass the thoughts to something else? So I always say, this is when you want to go, oh, look, a squirrel. Because you want to really change completely what you're thinking. You don't want to be like, I suck, I suck, I suck. No, I really don't, and try and like shift it that way because it's not going to work. You're going to drop right back into it. But what you really want to do is go, everything is awful, everything is awful. Oh, look, a squirrel. Oh, isn't it cute? Oh, I love that squirrel. Oh, look, a chipmunk.
So my short attention span's really a string.
Yes. So at that point, you want to be the, oh, look, a squirrel. You want, like, oh, look, the sun is beautiful today. You want to shift your thought process completely. You don't want to just shift it a little. You want to get the F out of your head. Because that's what's going to make the difference. So, like, if it's really bad in the middle of the night, I don't care. Get up and vacuum. Do something that's going to make you not think like that, right? You want to completely pivot. You want to do a 180. You don't want to do the, oh, let me see if I can talk myself into feeling really good. No, forget that, right? Because then it's too much of a struggle. You literally want to just go, oh, look, a squirrel, or oh, I love that. I'm looking over here. Oh, I love that candy dish. It's so pretty. Whatever it is, right? Like, you want to shift completely to a different train of thought and refocus so that you can come back in later in a different state of mind. That's pivoting. And it's so much fun if you can do it with somebody. So if you're like really having a tough time and you just cannot get it out of your head, you just tell somebody, your job is to distract me. Just distract me. So that's really easy, right? So I'm looking at you, right? And say you were telling me this really sad, awful thing, and it was this same thing that I had heard from you 48 times, right? And I was like, I'm all done with this. This is not a good story for you to be telling. I could go, hey, Pete, what's that behind your head? Is that a cat or is that a dog? Right? And then you look and you go, oh, it's a cat. Oh, do you like cats?
Right.
Right? You just get out of that freaking topic. And some people will say, oh, then you're not dealing with your issue. Well, sometimes you can't, because you're not in a healthy state of mind to deal with it. And you're not dealing with it in a healthy way. You're letting that issue overwhelm you.
Right.
So you have to detach from it so that when you come back to it, maybe you can come back in a different state of mind. And then it's like, oh, so we were talking about this, and I see you doing this, this, and this with your brilliance and your skill set in this, as opposed to, yeah, you're not good enough, and you know, you are manifesting. You just might not be manifesting the way you thought you would. Right? Like that's a big one for me, right? Like, great, I'm manifesting, but it's not what I thought. So how do I roll with it and not judge? Right? So I've been cooking for a new client, and then last week out of the blue, I got a call to give cooking lessons. Now, I haven't done that for years. And, right? So I'm like, is that what I'm supposed to do now?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So now notice that, right? Like, I can do anything. And teaching somebody cooking is fun for me. Does that mean I have to do that for the rest of my life? No. But does it mean that's what I'm supposed to do forever? No. It means this will work right now in my life. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to enjoy it. And you never know where it takes you. Right? So as it turns out, this guy's very involved in divorce support groups and very much in alignment with me as a life coach and an energy healer. So you never know what will come from it. But that's not what made me do it. What made me do it is, it will be fun. Can I go and just have fun cooking? The answer is yes, right? So when I first got the call, though, I went right into the spin. Oh, am I not supposed to be coaching anymore? Should I just be doing the cooking stuff? Should I go back to weight loss coaching as opposed to energy, right? Like every old story about like, is this really what I'm meant to do? Is this the universe telling me I should be focusing on the cooking thing, right? And it's like, how about it's the universe saying, just be open. Just be open to opportunities.
Right.
Instead of every opportunity has to mean that's the way life has to go, right? So we do these spins. And, you know, for me, right, the spin is, I don't have enough clients. This isn't working, blah, 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 blah. I need more clients. I have to get more clients, right? Instead of, well, here's the universe saying, here, do this while you're doing all your other things. So you can have fun, right? Because cooking I love. And there's no, let's face it, when you're coaching someone and doing energy work with somebody, it can be very intense, right? And I work with some people that had mental illness stuff. So it's deep, it's emotional, there's a lot of trauma. So cooking with somebody is freaking easy. Right? It's fun. It's like, chop the vegetables. This is how you hold the knife. This is what you do. We want to do this, right? I'm like, oh, maybe the universe is saying you can just chill too. Everything doesn't, because I tend to live, everything needs to be really intense, right? I want to get to the bottom of it. We want to clear it. Let's clear it. You want to feel better. Everybody's right. That's my spin on the world, right? Oh, we want to clear out all the old limiting beliefs so that you can be where you want to be in life. And so I get caught up in that too for myself. Like, what's going on? What do I have to clear? Right? I'm always like, what's the next thing I got to clear? What, right? And I think the universe is trying to remind me, you're supposed to be having fun. Life is supposed to be fun. And if you're not having fun, I'm going to help you. Right? And that's what the universe is saying to me. Like, go have some damn fun. Go cook. Go play. So cooking for me is play. So it's like the universe is telling me, go play. Let's not worry about every little thing. Let's not have to clear every person's limiting beliefs. Okay? It's not my job, right? I have some boundary stuff, right? It's not my job. So I can just go cook. And I just want people to realize when we get into our spins, they come from so many places, so many limiting beliefs, that anything can set off a spin. So me getting a job offer to go cook for somebody, give cooking lessons, actually created a spin for me.
Wow.
Right? And that's when you look at that, you're like, oh, what's that all about? Right? Well, I do, because I have to get to the bottom of the limiting belief.
Right.
So which is my spin, right? So it was just to let that go and go, oh, I can just go play. And I get paid for it, right? Because that's the best part, right? Like I get paid and I get to have fun. So not that I don't have fun coaching, but it's different.
Right.
It's not play. Coaching is fun for me because it fills my heart.
Right.
But it's not play in the sense that cooking is play.
Right.
So they're two different things, right? Because cooking fills my heart too, but there's no stress in it. There's no, I'm not, if the meal comes out crappy, you throw it out. It's not a big deal. If somebody has like an emotional breakdown while you're working with them, it's a one thing. So not that people have emotional breakdowns. I call them emotional breakthroughs. So, but that's how the spin ends up. So we end up in this, this cyclone of crap, and it shows up so easily. So that's my take on the spin of the spin.
Spin of the spin. I love it.
The spin of the spin. So how do you feel about your spins and like being able to distract yourself from them? Does that work? Have you ever tried it? Consciously tried it?
I've started going through, I'm sure you've heard of the 4 agreements.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I knew you had. And so I've really been concentrating on the becoming impeccable with thought, word, and deed. And it's making me feel so good to know that my short attention span is actually a gift.
It is.
And I totally get how, because anything that you focus on grows. So if you're focusing on that story, it just grows and grows and grows and grows and grows. And it is sometimes about just kind of jumping off that train and finding, another little playground to walk in. I'm the same way you are. It's like when you see a problem, you want to fix it. You know? And sometimes the way fixing it is to go play.
Right.
But we come up in this generation of no, you go hard work, and
right. Yeah. So absurd. Right?
It really is.
Yeah. I mean, that's when you go, oh, that's right. It's the absurdity. And I'm so grateful because my dad was, he's not with us anymore here on the physical plane, but he was always a big let's have fun kind of guy. And so I grew up with that. Like, life is supposed to be fun. Like I really, there's a real huge part of me that knows like it's supposed to be a good time. It's not supposed to be all drudgery. And I'm always grateful for that because I sort of grew up, I didn't grow up with the mentality of get all your work done and then you can go play.
Mm.
Like that is not how I was raised. That's not how my father was. He was definitely a play first, worry about everything else later, which is why we had no money. We were broke, but we had fun. So I shouldn't say it. We had money for a very long time until we didn't. But it's really important. So many people don't have fun. They really have that spin that they don't deserve to have fun if everything isn't done. I can't go out and play if there's dishes in the sink. I can't go out and play if the yard needs to be mowed. I can't go out and play if I didn't pay all the bills or do whatever has to be, quote unquote, has to be done. And that's a spin, by the way. That's a limiting belief that we carry on with in our own little heads and worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like that's a big spin of I'm not allowed to have fun. How many people do you know that actually like their jobs, but they were sort of trained that they weren't supposed to like their job, so they just say they don't like their job?
Right. Yeah. It's almost like you'd feel guilty if you said you enjoyed your work, right?
Right. It's like, well, I have to do it. And it's like, but it seems like everything you like to do, you're doing. Well, yeah, but it's still a job, right? Instead of just saying, could you just like it? Right? So we get into our spins however we get into them. And they're based on all our old limiting beliefs, our old stories. And the stories, and this is a key thing for our stories and our spin, is so often it's not your voice that you're hearing. It's your parents, it's your grandparents, it's your church people, your school teachers. It's somebody from your past that's sort of dictating what you should be doing instead of how you're actually feeling. And so the spin comes in, and I always say, like, right, so if you pivot and get out of it, then ask yourself, you can see if you can close your eyes, when time has gone by, and go, whose voice was that really? Whose voice was going on in my head?
Right.
Was it really mine, or was it somebody else's? And I just bought into their story, believing it about me. So if you had a parent that wasn't the most supportive and that just sort of said you weren't really good enough at something, or you heard that, you have that. That's the story that's in your head. So I have a big spin from something from high school. In my freshman year. Now I still remember it. It was very shameful for me, and like I didn't tell people for a long, long time because I was ashamed. But I love to read. I'm an avid reader, or I was. I'm not as much as I used to be, but I was never without a book, ever, from like 7th grade till probably my mid-30s. I just always was reading, loved it. But for some reason, I'm awful at grammar. I shouldn't say awful. I can't, you know how you have to break down a sentence in high school English, right? Like your nouns, your verbs, your adverbs, your all that stuff. So I'm not good at that. It just doesn't work for me, right? My brain I don't know why. I struggle with it. So I stayed after school for extra help. And my English teacher told me that I must just be stupid, and because I couldn't get it.
Wow.
So for probably 20 years, I never told a soul that she said that. But I wouldn't write. I always thought I wasn't good at writing because I couldn't break down a sentence, right? And I get like very insecure around it. So I'm always like, oh, I can't write. That's my story, right? That's my spin. I'm not good at it. So I started to write when I started my own coaching business with my business partner. I had to write little, little articles and stories and stuff to help my clients. And this is when I was doing weight loss coaching. And my business partner kept saying to me, Lori, your sentences, they're just run on sentences. You need more commas in there. You got to do this. And she would be like, well, you're really good at writing, getting your ideas out, but I'll just go in and perfect and make sure, like, proof it and do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so all I would hear when she said that was, you suck at writing. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Because that was my story.
Right.
And so when I was ending the business relationship with her a few years later, I was like, oh, I wonder who's going to be able to do all my proofing then, because I'm not good at writing. But the truth was, the people loved how I wrote. And when I started sending out newsletters, they were like, Laura, it's like you're in the room with me, talking to me.
Mm.
And I didn't need to have the perfect sentence structure.
Mm-hmm.
I just needed to be me.
Right.
So it took me so long to be able to admit, like, every time my business partner, for those 3 years that we were partners, every time she said, let me just fix this, all I heard was, you suck at writing.
Wow.
Right? And that's our spin. And like I said, when we first went our separate ways, I was like, oh my God, I won't be able to write anything because nobody will correct it. What will I do? And then another part of me was like, F that. Why do I need that? So we go into that whole spin of, like, if they don't like me for who I am, I don't care, right? Like, all the defense of, like, everything that comes up with our spin. So it's being aware and really noticing, like, oh, where does something like that come from? Because it seems so trivial, right? Like, one teacher said that. Like I can't tell you how many teachers have told me positive things, okay?
Mm-hmm.
A lot. I've had a lot of positive experiences in school, right, over my life. But that's the one that I cling to. Because it cut, right? I felt ashamed. I thought I was stupid.
Mm.
Like, why can't I figure this out? And so here I am in my 50s. I still can't structure a sentence properly, probably. And you know what? It doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm. Because
I can serve people in a million other ways. And by the way, I can make kick-ass brownies and English muffins and all these other things, right? So, I made homemade English muffins last week too.
And that's 1,000 words right there.
Yeah, right. That's right. So I don't eat any of this stuff, right? I don't eat any flour, so I don't eat anything that I'm making for other people, but it's all good. But it's owning and feeling into what our spin is and being able to realize it's our story. Like that spin about me not being able to write held me back from blogging, from putting myself out there, like, in a bigger way, because I was afraid. I was afraid people would think I was stupid. That was my spin. Can't do it. They'll think I'm dumb. They'll think I'm dumb. They'll think I'm dumb. I remember what she said, right? And it goes and it spins and it spins. So it's things like that that will that will hold us back. And we have to realize, like, really, how many papers have you written? Like, I look back at, like, I must have written, like, I probably wrote 3 a week, every week for probably over 2 years. Different little short things that went out to the clients and stuff about weight loss and different food things and all sorts of stuff. No one ever wrote me and said, this isn't okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then I wrote that many after my business partner and I split. And nobody wrote me and said, these aren't good. So it was my story, my spin, that I was so attached to, that held me back from just being me.
Mm.
So that's a little one, right? Like, and that's how they start. Like somebody makes some comment, you're already like, I already felt insecure about it because I couldn't figure it out during class time that I had to stay after for extra help, and then she couldn't explain it to me well enough for me to understand it. So then she said I was dumb.
Right.
So,
which was really her story.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. But when I was 14, I didn't think that. I was just like horrified. And I was like, I guess I'm so stupid, I'll never know how to do this.
And you called it little, but see how it has like affected you even to this day.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? It was something that you created, you know, it's almost like an oyster with like a little grain of sand, and you got this huge pearl. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's what we do, right? We take something that was really like like nobody, I don't believe in my life, I don't know if anyone else has ever called me stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't like to be thought of as that. That's like one of my little things, right? So like I said, when we feel insecure about something, if somebody points it out or makes a comment, it's going to be much worse than if we feel good about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I was confident about my structuring a sentence, I'm pretty sure I would never have remembered her comment.
Mm-hmm.
But because I felt insecure about it, it stayed with me.
Mm.
Right? And that's how it works for us, right? Like when we're confident about something, when somebody comes up and makes a comment, like if you're wearing your very favorite shirt in the whole world and you love it and you think you look fantastic in it, right? And you just know you are killing it, and someone comes up and goes, I don't really like that shirt. You're just like, okay. And you're just like done, right? Like it just doesn't matter. But if you put on a shirt and you're like, oh, I feel like it's a little tight, I don't like the way I feel in it, I'm not feeling my best today, and someone comes over and makes a comment about that shirt, all you want to do is go home and change it, right? You're like, oh my God, you can feel yourself hunch over a little, you're like, oh boy. And that's how it works. When you're insecure about something and somebody comments, it's 10 times worse than when you feel good about it, it just doesn't matter. Like if you having a killer hair day and someone's like, what's up with your hair? You're like, isn't it fabulous today? I love it. Right? And if you're having a bad hair day and someone comes up and goes, what's up with your hair? You're like, I know, oh my God, it's horrible. Oh, I wanted to wear a hat. It looks so awful. Right? So it's whatever mood we're in, we're going to take that comment. And based on our stories, our spins, that's how we're going to spin it for the rest of the day or the year or a lifetime if we're not careful. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, it is. And it's so interesting because I've been doing a lot of work of where I've been asking myself, you know, what is this reminding me of? So I can go back to the core basis of, you know, why does Pete have to be punished? And why can't he have this? And what did you do that was so wrong? And I've gotten some very clear answers, and it's been very eye-opening, you know what I mean? And I've had to forgive that little boy.
Right.
You know, because he felt very ashamed of some of the things that he thought and felt, and that was where it all came from. It all came from this sense of, I mean, I guess it must have been a very, very extremely conscious little boy, because the reasons are like very mature. You know what I mean? The reasons of why I needed to be punished were very like, wow, that's kind of mindful for a little 3 or 5-year-old to be thinking, you know, this is the wrong way to, you know, to believe about this or something like that. So, yeah.
Right. So, and my challenge on that will be for you. So do that closing your eyes. Was that your belief, or did you take on somebody else's belief, even as the 3 and 5-year-old? Like, did you hear an adult saying it and then it became yours when it was really somebody else's to begin with?
I think it was something that I thought I needed to do that I knew wasn't right. I don't know. I'd have to ask myself that question. That's interesting.
Yeah. Like do that, you know, you don't have to do it now by any means. But that close your eyes, whose voice is it really? Because at 3, like cognizant wise, chances are you're you're not in punishment thought process.
Mm-hmm.
That's coming from somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So you took on, and we do. That's what we do. We take on their story, their beliefs,
Right.
and we think they're ours,
Mm.
right? And
Interesting.
we
Yeah.
live like they're ours.
And you know what the exciting thing about that is? It's so much easier to get rid of somebody else's junk than your own.
Right. And because we packed it in, and now it's like, oh, that's not really mine. That's
Yeah.
actually, that's
I
that's
can pack that off to Toledo.
Yeah, I'm gonna send that back to him. And then, as we do energy work, right? So you can take their energy and their beliefs, and you can let that go back to them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you don't, and one of the coolest things about energy work, we can maybe play with this if you want, is you don't have to go through the garbage to throw it out.
Oh, I like that. Oh my gosh, I love that.
If it's not yours, you just let it go.
I'm writing that down. You don't have to go through the garbage to throw it out.
Yeah.
That's a write down.
Yeah. Right, because we always think we have to know all the ifs, ands, and buts, whys, of every little thing. And sometimes some things we have to know, but we don't need all the details. What we can know is like, that was not my belief. That came from somewhere else. So energetically, I'm going to let that out of my system and send that back to the person that it actually belongs to. They can have that energy back. It's not mine. Because it is an energy, and it is in you. You took on their energy, their belief, and you're carrying it like it's yours. Like you're doing we think we're supposed to. We think we're supposed to have that belief, but it's not ours. So we can let it just go.
Right.
We can just let it go. So do we have time? You want to let it go?
Sure, let's do this.
Okay. So I'm just going to tap in, and I'm going to just sort of read your energy a little bit. And all I want you to be able to do, this is beautiful. I love seeing your energy, Pete. It's so awesome.
Thanks.
So I want you to imagine a bubble, like like bubbles that you blow when you're a little kid, the iridescent bubbles. I want you to just imagine one, but it can get as big as you need it to be, and I want you to put it right out in front of you.
Okay.
And then I want you to imagine that there's like a vacuum cleaner and a magnet in it, like a magnet that can suck out things.
Okay.
And I want you to imagine that it is pulling all the thoughts and beliefs and energy that's in you that wasn't yours to begin with.
Ooh, something just came off my right shoulder.
Beautiful. So you can just let it can come easily. You do not have to work at it. The magnet is just sort of a pulling, like it's magnetic with the vacuum, and it's just sort of pulling easily and gently all the energy that's not yours.
I feel it coming out of my third eye chakra.
Excellent. So you just keep letting it flow. It's funny because right before you said that, all I could feel was like in the center of my forehead, like zzz. So just keep letting it flow. And just tell me when it's cleared out of you, all of it.
It's slowing down.
Beautiful.
It seems to have reached a stasis right now.
Beautiful. Okay. So now I want you to just imagine that bubble you can just send it out into the universe, and that bubble is just going to whoever gave you that energy is going back to those people. You can just push it away and then pop the bubble, and it will go to the people that it's meant to go to. You don't need to know who they are. You're just going to let it traverse through, and the universe will take care of it.
Okay.
And now I want you to imagine liquid gold pouring down from about 18 feet above your head, down through the crown of your head, and filling up all the space in your body where that energy was. And that is universal love that's pouring in through that gold. And you just want it to fill up, right? Because nature abhors a hole, a space, so it will fill it. So you want to make sure that you're filling it with your universal love.
Mm.
And because you don't want that energy coming back into you.
Right.
So what I want you to be very aware of is as this gold pours down through your entire body, and it just can just keep moving around. It's infinite in its quantity and quality. It just fills you up. But I want you to be aware that whatever energy pulled out of you and sent away, you might hear from people over the next, 12 to 24, maybe 36 hours of energy that you sent back to. Because you did a little bit of a disconnect with them as you pulled out their energy and sent it back. And they might want to reconnect to you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very common when we do these kinds of energy exercises that you hear from people that you seem surprised to hear from.
Okay.
So just a heads up. You can take the call if you want, but you do not have to if it's somebody that you do not want to. So I just want you to be aware of that, because I did some work with a client a couple weeks ago on this, and the very next day she ran into the person. She's like, "Are you kidding me?" So she's like, "I was challenged right away." So just things like that, you just want to be careful of. So you just want to be aware, because they're going to want to reattach really quickly. Right? They're going to feel the detachment and they're going to want to reattach. So how's that feel in your body with the gold pouring through?
It's interesting. It's filled up like my shoulders and my neck and my head, and that's about as far as it's gone.
So did you feel energy leaving any other places in your body?
No.
So it was all from your shoulders and above? Interesting. Okay, so let's let the energy drop down anyway. I'd love that gold to just drop down. And it doesn't have to fill anything, but I just want it to clear out anything that's not. You do grounding cords, right, Pete? So just imagine a grounding cord at the base of your spine, in the width of your hips, that goes all the way to the center of the earth. And it sort of hooks into the center of Mother Earth, so she's got you solid. And then let that gold pour down, and anything that doesn't serve you is going to go right down that grounding cord. So you can just let the gold.
There's a blackness underneath it, so I'm letting that go.
Good. Good. So let the gold, so it's going down your neck, down your arms. You can feel it filling into your forearms and your fingers, your fingernails. You can feel the gold. It's all beautiful and shimmery. And it's going to drop down below your neck, into your neck, down through your whole chest cavity. It's going to fill up your whole heart space, your lungs, your heart, and anything that isn't serving your highest good is just going to go right down the grounding cord. It's going to go through the rest of your torso, down through your hips, into your thighs, your knees, down through your shins, down to your toes, and out your toes. And you can just imagine that gold, and it can just keep going up and down your body. And anytime, I always think of it as sort of like a gentle car wash for all the cells in your body. The gold is just rinsing through them and going inside them and outside them and clearing it all. And anything that isn't serving your highest good can go right down the grounding cord. And anything that gets washed away, the gold will stay there and be love and light within the body. So if joints are sore, you can let the gold run through your knees, and your shins, and your elbows, and anything that might be a little tense. If your neck is tense, your shoulders are tense, let the gold fill up all the joints and all the muscles, and just breathe through and allow for that gold to just flow through your body and fill you with love and clear out anything that's not serving your highest good. Beautiful. That all the way down. How do your feet feel?
They feel good. My whole body always feels good. So yeah, it's good.
If you feel like
my left.
I just feel like your feet want to do a little happy dance right now.
Yeah, my left one's buzzing.
Okay, because I'm feeling my feet like need to be moving, and usually that means that you
I always feel like I should be moving. Always.
Okay, so that's what I'm feeling. Okay, so just allow for that, and just keep letting that gold flow through you. And then whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes and you can be back with us. And that gold can continue to run through you.
I'm golden, girl.
And I'm just going to put a bubble out real quick and disconnect the energy between us. So I just do it I just imagine an old-fashioned phone, right? That you just reconnect, you hang up, and that disconnects us.
Yeah, I felt something in the pit of my stomach when you did that.
Yeah. So that's just for me to make sure that I'm not staying connected to your energy. Right? So it's sort of an easy way to cut a cord, right? Because when I tap in and I'm reading your energy, and I was like, sort of like I said, I could feel, and this was going on, and right. So I don't want to have that continuing, right?
Right.
Because that's not okay.
Right.
Energetically, it's not okay. It's not. We don't want to stay connected like that.
Mm-hmm.
Be connected in a lot of ways, but as a energy healer and reader, we don't want to stay connected to somebody that way.
Right.
It's just invasive, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why I asked you if it was okay for me to do it, right? Because like my little energy ethics class right here, right? You don't read somebody's energy unless they give you permission.
Right.
You have to ask.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go, oh, I think they'd want me to.
Mm-hmm.
You have to ask. Or you have to be asked to do it.
Right.
Because it's personal, and you can see things and know things about somebody that maybe they don't want you to know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not okay just because you can do it, that you do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my little ethics thing. So even though like I know like usually like you're pretty open to everything, I always ask you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you might not be this time. You might not want anyone to know anything. Especially on a radio show, right? Like, oh my God, it's going to be out there for the whole world to know. Like, right?
Pretty out there, so.
Right. So, I mean, there's sometimes like I don't want, like I want my energy read, but I don't want anybody else knowing about it. Like that's why I have a coach. Right? Like somebody else will read it. Do I want to do it on the radio? Like sometimes I've been bold and said, okay, but overall, right? Like it can be, hugely personal. So that's why I'm always so grateful when somebody calls in or when somebody wants to have their energy read and is willing to do it live.
Right.
Right. It's powerful and moving and it's breathtaking, but it's personal.
Right.
And people who don't think it is, they don't know, right? If they've never had their energy read, they've never done it, like you see things and know things that at a deeper, more meaningful level than you would get just whatever.
Right.
So that's why it's so important, like ethically. Like when I was in school for this, that was a huge part of it. Was like you don't give a healing if somebody doesn't want it. You don't just send energy to somebody. Like you just don't do that. You have to have permission. Like somebody has to ask for it. You don't just assume that you should be sending energy healing. Like they might not want to be healed. They might want to be where they're at.
Right. Right.
So it's imperative to do that. So that's my little ethics on energy healing 101. Sorry.
Amazing.
I just had to get that in there because I think so many people assume that you just, the energy people just read it and not worry about it. But if you're working with somebody or you want to, you should make sure that they have some ethics around it because you don't want them staying attached to you all the time and knowing. You want them to separate. That's our job. Our job is not to stay attached to you like that. It's unhealthy and it's not okay.
Right.
So that's my. Obviously, I have to spin about that.
That's a nice cat you have there, cat or dog or whatever. What's that?
Yeah.
Your focus.
Yeah, right. Well, could you know what I'm talking about behind you? You see the ZC Ed?
Right. Yeah, the one right over there. There it is.
Yeah. Is it a cat? It's a cat, right?
A cat. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. And a swan.
Well, amazing, Lori. Is there anything else you want to talk about tonight, or about right here at the end of the show?
I think that was it. I think I covered. I just want you to be able to pivot, ask for your friends for like an outside, honest answer to get you out of your spin. Don't let people buy into your story.
I love it. I love it. That's amazing. All right. Well, this has been the end of the live call-in show with Lori Grant on You Have to Feel to Heal. I want you all to go to lorigrant.com. That's LORIGRANT.com. Hook up with her, and she does coaching and all kinds of amazing things. And is there anything else you want to shout out about? Any programs or anything you got coming up?
Oh gosh. No, I didn't. I know I have stuff coming up, and I didn't even write anything down to
okay.
talk about. But yep, if you want a healing, if you want an energy healing, you don't have to be local. I do long distance healings, and you can just contact me at lorigrant.com, and I'm offering a discount this month, so you don't have to sign up through the website. But if you email me, you get half off. So instead of $150 for a healing, there's $75.
Amazing. And I'm going to say, as a recipient, as a very, very lucky recipient of it, it's amazing stuff.
Yes.
And I don't let everybody work on energy on me. So
yeah, healings are really spectacular.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Lori. This has been amazing.
Thanks, Pete.
All right. And we'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Yes. And congratulations.
Thank you.